Good morning, gang. What's going on? Happy Thursday. Good afternoon to some people in the chat. I guess I gotta start saying that. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, depending on where you are in the world. What's up, you guys? All right. Game plan for today. So, did not get a pullback overnight. It just went straight up. So the game plan that I shared in Discord last night didn't really play out. But pullback, area of interest for me this morning, if we do get a pullback, is down here at this support zone, 25,600 really. If you've been following the levels that I've been sharing in Discord, I drew that big white box on the hourly time frame, and the bottom of that box was like in this area, 560 to 590. So if we get a pullback to there, I would feel pretty good about that being a bounce zone. If it just blasts straight up at the open, 820-ish, I'll draw a line there, a little rectangle. Like 800 to 820-ish is an area that I have resistance on the higher time frame, like an hourly time frame. So we shall see if we go up or we go down. We do have news today, if you guys haven't checked. I use Financial Juice, but you can use Forex Factory or whatever. There's lots of spots. We had jobless claims and GDP this morning at 8:30, and then we have more stuff coming up at 10. So we'll see how the first 30 minutes of the open goes. Could be a little bit choppy, waiting for news. My goal today is to stay patient because I don't know if we're going to get a pullback, honestly. It might just shoot up at the open. It's been super bullish lately. But I also don't want to try to find the top, and just keep shorting any resistance that I have. Same idea as catching a falling knife. So my plan today is to be patient. I am going to show you guys, I'm in a position right now, and I'll switch screens here in a second. I'll tell you why I got in. It might just stop me out at the open if we dump. But 712 was my entry, and I'm targeting up here in this 820 area. So my reasoning for this entry was we broke above our previous pre-market high, which was here at 715 with this bullish candle, lots of volume. And then it came back down and retested this accumulation zone and then bounced again. So that's why I entered that long, and my stop loss is at break even right now. So it might just end up being a $0 trade, which is fine. But target is up here somewhere in like the 820s. So if the market just opens up super bullish, might be good. We shall see. How are you guys all doing? Anyone taking any trades this morning or anything last night? There was some good movement on gold last night. NQ was pretty slow, at least while I was awake. Gold was moving though. Can I teach my strategy for someone who is just starting trading? Yeah, I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. It's hard to go like through my entire strategy in one day. There's a lot to it. But I do have videos explaining every single thing that I do with like my 15-minute opening range, how I draw my support and resistance lines using visible range volume profile. That's what these gray support zones are. That's how I found this support zone that I'm watching for a bounce in. I use visible range volume profile, so go check out the video on that. I mark off my like previous day high, all that stuff. So go check out those videos. All right, stop me out. I'm cool with that. Market is open. Getting a pullback. Here we go. Let's see if it comes down to kind of this general area that I'm watching. Also, if you are a fib person, that the 50% of today's range, where is today's range? Yeah, right there. Is kind of in that same area, 600-ish, 618 and 0.5. So that's another confluence for that zone down there. Well, something to be aware of, you guys, is ES opened with a 5-minute green candle so far, and NQ has a very red 5-minute candle so far. So when they're kind of going the opposite, that makes me a little bit cautious. Only 1 minute into the open, this thing's just falling hard. Come on down to that 600, 550 level. You're watching London low, value area high. Yeah. That's also yesterday's close. That's always a good spot. That's a long way down though. Yeah, Jeff and Chichimus, I was watching that. Interesting how they're very different. ES is actually breaking the pre-market high and moving up. And NQ looks like it wants to go down. And gold is just going to the moon. Wow. Anyone trading gold and get in on that? That That was the kind of trade where you could just market order along and then make a lot of money. This could be shooting back up to all-time high on gold. So the key levels indicator is actually something I just started using a couple days ago. It shows everything that I mark off manually. So it shows Asia low, Asia high and low, London high and low, previous day high and low, all that stuff. One thing I am gonna do is change the settings on it. Something weird happened. I don't like it to be abbreviated. And it's doubling up and being weird, I don't know. I'll turn it off for now. Something's acting up. Well, as soon as I said that on gold, it started dumping back down. All right, NQ is coming down to VWAP. Let's see if we bounce here or if we do come down further to this zone that I was kind of watching. Kind of starting to hold. Not a convincing bounce to me. Volume is not like confirming that it wants to bounce there. Looking at the 1 minute chart, it still looks a little bit droopy to me. And it's still early in the open. Remember too, we have news in about 23 minutes. So far we are getting a bounce here at VWAP. Still staying patient. All right, as of now, this is our 15-minute high. There we go. Nice move off of VWAP right there. Did anyone take that long? Still too choppy and early in the open for me to want to take that. But any scalpers out there could have gotten a good little trade off of it. The key levels indicator that I have, let me show you on here. Type in key levels and it is by Liquid Trader, this one right here. So play around with it. There's tons of stuff you can add. Play around with the settings. I do high and low of the day, opening range, pre-market, and overnight. So that's basically London and Asia high and low. Yesterday's high and low. I do regular trading hours. I don't turn any of those on. And then that's pretty much it. Yeah, I think that's it. But when I turned it on earlier, it was like doubling everything. So I turned it off. There we go. Now it's fixed. So overnight high and low, that would be Asia high and low. Pre-market high and low, that would be London. So it just kind of saved me a few steps. Maybe I'm old school, I don't know. But I kind of feel like it still is smart to know how to mark the levels yourself. If you just mark off an indicator, maybe you won't know, or maybe if you just use an indicator, I mean, maybe you won't know which ones are actually significant, like which ones you should use. That's just my opinion. Same thing with this session volume profile that I use. You can still manually mark that off, and I recommend that you do. If you don't know how, learn how to do it manually. Just that way, I feel like it helps you understand better what that indicator is actually showing you. If you just find someone on YouTube that shows you a whole bunch of indicators to use, but you don't know how to use them or what they mean or what they're measuring, then I don't think it's really helping you. But again, maybe I'm, old school, and everyone else is like, I'm trading with a bot and I use indicators that tell me when to buy and sell and I'm a millionaire. All In the wild trades, yeah, if you have a key levels indicator that you like and you want to share, happy. I know Arch Reactor in our group has also shared his. Sure. All right, that was a pretty big drop below VWAP with volume. Looks like it hasn't quite found its low yet. And news in 16 minutes, so beware. So it quickly dropped below VWAP and then reclaimed it. But I've been watching volume a lot more, and you can see down on the bottom of the screen, this move up, that 1 minute candle right there on the supposed quote unquote bounce, there was no volume on that candle, so it was not a convincing bounce. That makes me think that it's going lower, at least for now, until more volume to the upside shows up. Although one thing to keep into consideration too is this previous candle where there was a lot of volume, there were also a lot of buyers in that candle because of that long tail on the bottom. So really, right now, nothing clear for me. It could hold a VWAP here if it starts to buy up, but I'm still watching for 600-ish if it comes lower. And that support zone really is, there's a ways to go, like 550 to 600, somewhere in there. So I'm not going to be trying to catch a falling knife or anything. Moving on down. Here we go. That's what I'm talking about. Come down to my level. Let's go. Our opening range is set at this point, and this candle right here wicked below it. Let's see if it holds and it buys up from here. Doesn't really look like it. It looks like it wants to go lower. We have this pre-market low all the way down here at 483, the London low, or we have Asia low at 522. I kind of like a bounce at 522 better, honestly. But we shall see. Like I said before, I'm preaching to myself here, saying it out loud a million times so I remind myself, don't catch a falling knife. I'm not going to be one of those people who like sets a limit order down here. Honestly, though, that works if you're a scalper. Because a lot of times it will get, even if it's just a super quick little like 15-point bounce or something. But this thing's looking pretty heavy. All right, moving to the 5-minute chart. We still have a minute and a half until this candle closes. Obviously, very strong close outside of the range so far. If we get a little retest, we could take a short, although it is coming into some of these areas of interest that I'm watching. So, gotta be careful shorting into support. Wayne, good morning. What's up? Welcome. All right. Kind of coming to the bottom of my area. 550 is the bottom of my high volume node, but the fact that we're right down here at some of these overnight lows, it could come lower and grab some of this liquidity. Or it could bounce here. We'll see. So far, it doesn't really look very bouncy. Looks like it wants lower. Oh, as I say that, what's it gonna be, NQ? Can we use the same technique that we're showing to trade individual stocks? Yes. I can't tell you that from personal experience because I only trade NQ and gold and ES. But most of what I learned, like most of the videos that I watched to learn this, a lot of them were from people who traded stocks. So like the 15-minute opening range, finding support and resistance with volume profile, like all that stuff. Yeah, you can use that with stocks for sure. All right, I'm watching here. It bounced right at the bottom of my high volume node. I like that bounce there, but we're still below the opening range low. So we could reject here and go lower and grab some of this overnight liquidity. So I'm going to watch and see what happens here at this 15-minute opening range low. If we reclaim it, we could be looking for longs. If we reject here, could go lower. But so far, that's a pretty big bounce. Could also look for a buy up back to this VWAP area at 638 and a rejection from there. So I like the area that it bounced at, but I'm not ready to long just yet. G-Man's going long on gold. Yeah, I haven't placed any trades on gold, but I do like the longs. It actually broke above an area of resistance that we've been at all night with volume and then came back down and retested it pretty cleanly. So longs make sense on gold. All right, we're breaking back below this opening range low. Might take a short here. If it comes a little higher to VWAP, that would be a better entry. Somewhere up there, and then target maybe this overnight low. Let's see if it goes a little higher. What are you looking for on your target, G-Man? Going back up to all-time high, pretty much. Well, shoot. That was the entry right there. I'm going to take a small position on it because I wanted it to come up a little higher. I just barely missed my entry by like a tick. But that's the kind of volume confirmation I was looking for. So 589 is where I entered. But smaller position sizing since I kind of got a late entry. And then stop loss, I'm not going to let it get back inside the opening range low. So I'm going to put it right here around 618. All right, let's see if it comes down to this Asia low, or if it stays heavy, we can target London low. So I'm going to place my target down here at 471 for now. But I'm going to watch it. Come on, keep going. I put my stop loss a little bit into profit at this point because we do have news in 2 minutes. That allows me to stay safe in case it doesn't work out. Dinge Revolution, what's up? You were watching, looking for me to go live yesterday. Yeah, my schedule's been a little bit crazy this month, and it probably will be for another few weeks. This week I was doing Tuesday and Thursday. I do post my live schedule in Discord. If you happen to be in the Discord, I post it there. But yeah, I do some consulting for gym owners. And this time of year is pretty crazy, as you can imagine. All right, I hit my stop loss at break even. I wanted to do that since we do have news, so let's see what happens here in a minute. All right, there's news. Are we going to continue down to some of the overnight liquidity? What are we going to do here? It's kind of hovering in my support zone. Wouldn't be surprised if it starts moving back up soon. It's just a matter of when. Is it going to bounce in this area or go grab a little more of that liquidity down lower? If it is going to bounce, it's not doing it right now. Well, that's a little bit annoying that it barely hit my stop loss and now it's continuing, but whatever. There's always more opportunities. It's all good. Asia low is sitting at 522. Let's see what kind of bounce we get there, if any. Kind of chopping around here a little bit. Got ourselves a little tug of war going on. Well, ES definitely changed its tune. Remember I was saying the first couple minutes of the market open, it was out of sync. It like had a little sweep higher where it kind of tricked people, broke up above that pre-market high, and then it just dumped. So it's going down just like NQ. There's definitely a battle going on here. It's like buyers are trying to hold this level, but sellers are too strong right now. Not working out very well for a bounce. I think a bounce is coming. I think we might get a quick little wick lower to some of these overnight levels. Anyone taking any trades? How are you guys doing in the chat? Really, this is kind of just hovering. Like even for shorts. I mean, there was that great retest of VWAP and drop, which could have been the trade that I'm still in, but I put it at break even because of the news. So that, if you hadn't moved your stop loss, that would be a great trade. Other than that, since news, there hasn't been an opportunity to re-enter really. Because it didn't really like pull back. You kind of just would have had to enter wherever, but then your risk would have been pretty high if you put it above that stop loss or up above that wick on the candle. So shorts were the way to go. All right, coming down to Asia high, possibly, sorry, Asia low, possibly London low. Let's see what happens down here. Watching ES2 to see, sometimes they both bounce at the same time and that gives extra confirmation for entering. Don't want to go short so close to heavy demand. Yeah, that's same thing I'm watching, Stockfather. I still feel like a bounce is coming. It just seems to me at least that it needs to go a little bit lower first. We haven't had any like convincing buying candles, you know, where you can just tell that like that was the level where all the orders were sitting. Checking financial juice, we don't really have anything else today other than crude oil inventories at noon, but that doesn't usually affect NQ that much. But I feel like all week, really, we've had a bunch of headline kind of things just looming out there with the tariffs and Greenland and airstrikes and all that stuff. So I guess yesterday they kind of settled that. I don't know. It doesn't seem like anything further is scheduled today to talk about with all that. Oh man, I really like this area for longs, you guys. I just haven't seen it yet. Haven't seen the buyers step in. It's a tough situation because, you know, sometimes they just randomly decide to step in and it could just shoot up from here. Sometimes they need to come down and grab some of that overnight liquidity or a little liquidity lower. So I'm like, stay patient. Don't FOMO in, because if I entered along here, the risk would be terrible. Like if I put it below that overnight low or really pre-market, 70 points, not smart. Oh, Stockfather took a long. Yeah, the only way I would enter a long is if I took a really small position so that I could leave room for it to maybe come to that overnight low. Like I said, though, I do like this area. All right, we're starting to get some buyers. And then right back down. Not yet. Some buyers stepped in at the golden pocket retracement. Yep. There's no follow through on it yet though. I mean, look at the volume on this candle. Still 3 minutes left on it, of course, but that's not convincing from buyers, in my opinion. Still waiting, staying patient. I'm still a little bit annoyed about this trade. I would have been sitting pretty right there. You're gonna try a long closer to 500 if we get there? You like those round numbers, Verisat. $500 for me is kind of the top of this high volume node. I don't know, and it's also right in between these two overnight levels. Unless the 500 is just like a wick liquidity grab below this overnight low and it reaches 500 and then we buy up, maybe. But if we like hover around 500, I wouldn't be convinced. I would think we'd come down to 483. But that's just the way I see it. Man, something big is happening at this level, though. Something's brewing. While we're waiting for one of these levels to hit, you guys, if you haven't already, go hit that like button. I'd appreciate it. We got 73 of you here. Let's see how many likes we can get. Hulk smash. But don't break your computer. Gold is kind of chopping around too. Right at that support and resistance level that it broke through and then retested and kind of chopped below it, and now it's holding above it again. Everything's kind of undecided right now. Should you press the like button twice? No, because then that'll unlike it. All right, I'm entering along 577. $577 is where I got in. Just that accumulation right there, it could come back down. This could be a loss, you guys. Could be wrong. I also, like I said, I was sitting here just watching. I like that level. ES is also holding a support zone that I have. Come on, bounce. Let's go. If we do hold this level, I mean, it could go all the way back up to that opening range high, possibly. But we do have VWAP. We have lots of resistance, so I'm not going to get ahead of myself. Took a small position so I could give myself a little bit of room to come back down. Stop loss is going to be right below that wick, and it could turn into a loss. Yep, all right. It might come lower. Gonna wait, see what happens. There's an institutional buyer at that level that's sucking up all the selling. Yeah. That was my reasoning for the long. I think it's going higher. It's just a matter of will it go lower first before going higher. Cheechamus, that's actually a really good point. And that's one of my probably most profitable, best setups is when the initial balance low. I call it a double liquidity grab. We still have 11 minutes, so this initial balance low could move. But we would have initial balance low plus overnight low liquidity to grab. So if we bounce off of both of those and have a strong buy up, that could be a good opportunity. So let's wait, see what we get. You're looking to buy if you don't fall asleep? Yeah. This price action might put us to sleep. I'm going to be so annoyed if this thing just blasts off from here. I should have given my stop loss more room. Well, there it goes. Let's see what happens up here at these VWAPs. At this point, kind of missed that move. Oh man, that's kind of two missed trades, you guys. Two trade ideas that I was right on. I just didn't manage them right, which is frustrating. So what I'm looking for at this point, if this thing continues, break up above VWAP, retest this opening range low area, and then continue higher. Or we could reject there too. You like my little squiggly line? Looks like a snake. All right, let's see what happens. Coming up to VWAP. Let's see if it rejects here and it does go down to some of that overnight low liquidity, or if we break through these levels and we retest. I'm leaning more towards it breaking through because it held that zone I was watching. Wow, what a rejection there. It proved me wrong. I guess we're not going to break through. Jeez. Alrighty, now we're starting to come down. 5 minutes until this initial balance is set. Come on down. I've told you guys before, if you watch me, that I have a squirrel brain. Every time I say, come on down, I always think of, you're the next contestant on The Price is Right. That's what I want to say every time I say that. Oh my gosh, are we just gonna chop here again? Jeez. All right, we have 5 minutes until the initial balance low is set. I could totally see it setting up for a failed auction. It would be pretty textbook for a double liquidity grab. Somewhere down here or even pre-market low. Something like that. And then to the moon. That's what I'm gonna wait for. G-Man, are you still in your gold long? That thing just blasted higher. Cool. Good stuff, G-Man. Someone's making big money on those buy-ups near 580. Yeah. Yeah, this is a range trader's dream right here. For the last, what, how long have we been in this range? 40 minutes? Basically, if you just sold VWAP and bought this 540 level, you could have made lots of money so far. Coming back to that area. So the confirmation I'm looking for is either we come down to this overnight liquidity before we bounce, or like I said before, if we break above these VWAPs, come back down and retest the opening range low, and then continue higher. Those are the two that I'm watching for right now. Not really looking for shorts, honestly, because I'm just seeing support down below. I could be wrong. I mean, this thing could dump, obviously. But gonna stick with my plan for now. Oh yeah, you're right, G-Man. VWAP doesn't work. I forgot about that. I've been basing my whole strategy on something that doesn't even work. I'm just kidding, you guys. If you can't sense the sarcasm, there was a troll in the chat sometime last week that came in and said VWAP doesn't work. I thought it was funny. Honestly, you can make anything work if you just stay consistent with it and have data to back up when you should take a trade. I don't use EMAs or DMAs or RSI or, I mean, there's so many things out there. I don't use any of them. I don't understand half of them. Doesn't mean it doesn't work. You just have to pick what works for you and stick with it. I should add moon phases. You're absolutely right. You know what? There's moon phases and there's tarot cards. I just found this out. Waffles was actually posting it kind of as a joke in Discord, but it's apparently a real thing. Like, people use these cards to predict, like, if the market's going to be choppy today or whatever. Definitely going to add that to my strategy, you guys. Next time we go live, I'm going to pull up moon phases and tarot cards, and we're just going to go long or short based on what they say. Sound good? We're going to make lots of money. What's the reading today? I don't know. I didn't read it. That's probably why I haven't made money today. I forgot to go check my cards for the day. That's my problem, you guys. Dang it. Why didn't you tell me? I wonder if it's tied to your horoscope. You think? It probably is. I think that probably matters, right? I should put my mood ring on too and see like what color my mood ring is, so I know what my emotional state is along with my horoscope and my moon phases. All of that together, definitely a winning strategy, I'm sure. Go long if you're a Gemini. I'm a Pisces. I gotta look it up. I'm gonna Google it real quick. Well, we're stuck in this range still. All right, coming up towards those VWAPs. Let's see which scenario plays out. Are we going to reject here, come back down to these overnight lows, or are we going to break above VWAP and continue? VWAP and opening range low and all that. Like, this is a level that if we hold here, I think we'll go higher. Waiting for some confirmation though. ES is doing pretty much the exact same thing. ES is above VWAP and currently starting to break above its opening range low. All right, let me move these lines out of the way so we can actually see what's going on. All right, I scaled in a little bit at 619 was my first add. If it comes lower, back down to that opening range low, or even like New York low, maybe around 607-ish, I'll add more. But this thing, it might just keep going. So let's see if it comes back down to like 610, 607, somewhere in there. I'll add a little bit more. Dang, G-Man. Watching gold over here on this other screen. That's a nice trade over there. Might not come down any further. I have a limit order set at 607 for one more contract to see if it retests it. Take note, Marvel, you tied both accounts together on Trade-Avate to copy trade, but when you go into TradingView, it only executes on one, not both. Yes, when you copy trade with Trade-Avate, you have to do it in Trade-Avate. TradingView only allows you to copy, or only allows you to trade one account at a time, unless you use a third-party copier like TradeSyncer. That's the one that I use. So if you want to copy trade, you have to either do it, execute your orders in Trade-Avate, or use TradeSyncer, link your accounts to TradeSyncer, and then you can execute them in TradingView. Hopefully that makes sense. I know there's a lot of different moving parts there, but TradeSyncer is actually very easy to use. I like it. Yeah, if you don't want to use a copy trader, a third-party copier, then you have to execute it in Trade-Avate. Well, and never went down and grabbed my extra order. Darn. But I have 3 contracts on a position. Nice, G-Man. Question, G-Man, did you execute your trade in TradingView or Trade-Avate? I assume you had the OCO orders on it. I haven't gotten super comfortable with the bracket orders yet. So that's the only thing I need to figure out. Because I want to be able to like get up and walk away and not be worried about leaving one of my orders open. Waffles in the chat, what's up? Good morning. With TradeSyncer, that is just on the back end. It links all of your accounts, but you actually place your orders in, you execute them in TradingView or Trade-Avate. Setting up brackets on Tradeovate. Yeah, I've watched so many different videos on it and have not figured it out. It's super clunky. I might just start placing trades in TradingView because I know you can do it there. It's a bigger pain in the ass than they're worth. That's what I'm figuring out. And I know you go over to this thing, you turn out, like I even have it set up, the automatic stuff, but it doesn't do it right. I know in TradingView you can, so maybe I'll just start doing that. All right, starting to move away. Might not come down to that other limit order that I placed. At this point, I don't really want it to come back down. So, gonna stick with my entry there. All right, I'm gonna see if this goes back up to pre-market high. I like the level that it held. We'll see how far it goes. I added one more, so 625 is the average entry. If it breaks above this pre-market high and stays bullish, it could go up to the 800 level. Duck race for funsies? Maybe, I don't know. Kind of got slow. I guess compared to yesterday's just wild price action, I felt like, I don't know what yesterday's range was, but I felt like it was huge and it like hit the top and the bottom of the range all day. It was all over the place. Lots of opportunity to make money yesterday or lose money if you were on the wrong side of it. Hit that like button if you haven't already, you guys. I know Waffles bugged you about it. Jack's bugging you about it. I love these people in the chat helping me out. Thank you. There's previous day high. Getting a little pullback there. Hopefully not much. These VWAPs are kind of starting to flatten out a little bit. Still hasn't caught up to this move up, I'm sure. You've learned a lot from watching me trade? Well, thanks. Probably learned a lot of what not to do too, right? Oh. I'm good at showing you guys bad examples too. Oh, I realized I didn't put it on the fun screen. You guys want to see the fun screen. All right, since I don't chart on this one, I'll draw some lines. This here is our initial balance high. So that would be a possible target. Pre-market high is just outside of that. So honestly, if it gets all the way up to the top of the range, we could be setting up for a failed auction short. If I did take a short, like that's probably where I'm going to take my profit if it goes up there. If I did take a short, I probably would just be looking for a quick move down. I think this thing could continue to move up to 800 or so. That little red box I drew, 800 to 825-ish. Waffles, but at least you show them. Yeah, you guys get to see all of it, the good and the bad. The losses and the wins. I try to share it all in Discord too. Like there were a couple times over the last month that I blew some accounts by doing something stupid, trying to trade when I was distracted with some fussy kids, and you know, I share all that stuff. Well, that hit my trailing stop loss, so I'm out of that one. Let's see how far down it moves. If it bounces at this VWAP, which is also the opening range low, I'm going to re-enter. If we get a bounce here, I'm re-entering. Still watching. Decent volume on that candle. Let's see if we get a good tail on it. ES is retesting its opening range low too. Is it gonna hold? Just thinking about it. It would be a clear stop loss though. I would pretty much just put it below that wick. Maybe give it a little bit of room. Well, thank you. I have a secret admirer in the chat. Oh my gosh. G-Man, this gold trade. Are we gonna hit an all-time high on gold right now as we speak? Well, not right now as we speak. It's still a little ways away, but dang. All right, I got in 622.8. So far, looks like it's holding. Come on. Give it a little bit of room before below that wick, but not much. Wow, you guys. Yeah, you came back at a good time, Waffles. Craziness in the chat. Oh man. Maybe I should have just stayed away. Let it hit my trailing stop loss and not re-entered. I like that it's holding VWAP, but it's not continuing up. I drew this wrong. My actual stop loss on my trade of 8 is at 600, so it hasn't stopped me out yet. Take note, Marvel, this is NQ. No, I have not jumped on the silver train. What's up, Ace Trades? Hope you're having a good day too. Well, it's not holding that VWAP. It might come lower. Verisat, did you fall asleep yet, or are you still here? Verisat said the market was putting him to sleep. I haven't seen him in the chat. He might be taking a nap. All right, Waffles, have a good day. Am I trading tomorrow live? I am not. Tomorrow I'm taking on some PTO duties. So I'm the secretary for our kids' PTO. And we have a school store tomorrow. It's a little fundraiser we do, and it's really fun for the kids too. We buy a whole bunch of like $1 items. Well, for us, they're like 30 cents, and we sell them for $1. But the kids get super excited because they get to collect all their dollars from their piggy banks and go buy stuff. So we have like keychains and pencils and stickers and things like that. So I'm manning the school store tomorrow. It's actually really fun. The school store and the book fair are some of my favorite things to help out with, because you have all these little kindergartners that come in with their dollar and they're like excited that they go shopping. So that's what I'm doing tomorrow. Am I gonna get some of that storm? Yes. So it's supposed to get down to below freezing, which in Houston is a big deal. Like that doesn't happen very much for us. And our homes are not built for 20-degree weather. So everyone nationally always makes fun of us when we like have massive outages because of the freeze. But I'm like, dude, we're not New Hampshire or New York or someplace that's like built for snow months out of the year. Our houses are not built for it. So, yep, we have a freeze coming and there's a chance of rain with the freeze. So it could be snow, which would be fun, but it also could just be like frozen rain on the roads, which is not cool. That means that no one's driving to work, no one's driving to school. We might be camped up at home and just hope that the power doesn't go out. That's all coming this weekend. I think it's supposed to come in Saturday night through like Monday morning, I think. Water, bread, and peanut butter. Yep. No, we actually have like We have gas, which is helpful for having a gas stove, so we can at least like cook things on the stove if the power goes out. And then, yeah, I have plenty of stuff I can cook on the stove. I always cook. I never eat out. Like, I can't remember the last time I went to a restaurant, honestly. I like to cook at home. So I'm not one of those people that's like, I can't order food. I'm not going to be able to eat. I don't have a generator. No. This doesn't happen that often. There's usually only maybe a week or two where there's even a chance of the power going out. So I didn't think it was worth it to spend thousands of dollars on a generator. Oh, we don't use a gas stove to heat the house overnight. We have a gas heater, so that works to heat the house. Funny story. Speaking of a gas heater, when we newly moved into our house, we're not used to like having a gas like tank that you have to fill up. We used to be in our old house, we were on like city gas lines, but now we're out further, so we have our own propane tank. And my husband didn't realize, like, hadn't figured out the schedule for filling it up and all that. So we had a freeze, like one of those freezes where the power went out and no one was driving on the roads. It was a couple years ago. And we also ran out of propane. So we didn't have a heater, and our whole family, we set up some air mattresses in front of our fireplace and slept together. Like, we made a little camp out session in front of our fireplace. It was an adventure. My husband has a little bit of PTSD from it, where he like constantly checks the propane tank levels when we have cold weather like this coming up. He's like, all right, we're still 70% full. We're good. It's not going to fall out. It's not going to empty. Adventures. He still hears about it? No. I don't give him crap about it. He actually laughs about it. But no, he beat himself up enough about it that I didn't need to say anything. I felt bad because he felt so bad. We made fun. We made fun out of the situation. It was kind of one of those things where, like, when we realized that the propane was empty and we had another 48 hours of like below freezing level, we're like, or temperatures, we're like, well, let's make this an adventure. There's nothing we can do about it now. I don't know. I'm pretty easygoing. I don't feel like it really helps in a situation like that to be mad at him. He made a mistake. Oops. He learned his lesson on his own. He didn't need me to yell at him for it. Yeah, G-Man, gold is going crazy. I wonder, I mean, it's not far from all-time high right now. It's at 48.72. All-time high is at 48.90. So like 18 points away. And then all-time high is 48.90. If it hits that, might as well go to 4,900. Nice little round psychological number. Oh my goodness. Is this thing ever gonna move? What are we doing, NQ? Versat never showed back up in the chat, so he must have fallen asleep. About an hour ago, he was saying that price action was putting him to sleep. He's gone now. Finally moving out of the zone. All right, let's see. Let's see what we got. Previous day high is where we rejected before. So with that little accumulation there, that might be enough to break through that previous high to the left. Maybe. Don't want to speak too early on that. And then let's see what happens as we get up here to this session high. This is ugly, you guys. The only thing that's moving right now is gold. Well, I shouldn't say the only thing. Out of the things that I'm watching, I have ES&NQ and gold up. I would assume if gold is moving, then silver is. Yeah, silver looks pretty much the same as gold, just to the moon. And silver made a new all-time high today. Exciting times. Anyone wish they had bought gold and silver back when their grandparents told them to? Shoulda, woulda, coulda, right? Ay, ay, ay. Do something. If I smile, the price will go up. Believe me. Is that back tested? I don't know. Do you have data on that? Good morning from India. Good morning or good evening to you. Good afternoon. No, CM 101, what I've found works better is if I use my mom voice. Like, come on, NQ. Do what I told you to do. No, that doesn't really work either. NQ's not my friend. We have a love-hate relationship. Well, are we ever going to get some continuation? We had this little chop zone for about an hour, broke above it, and now we're continuing to chop. All right, finally starting to move. I'm gonna move my stop loss to at least break even at this point in case it does decide to reject at that previous day high and come back down. You get down to pre-market low and reverse right now, all in a mom voice? No. Why would I want it to reverse right now? Maybe only because she would do the opposite of what I told her to do. I have lots of experience with that, honestly. I have a son, a 7-year-old little crazy boy who does the exact opposite of what I tell him to do every time. And we were actually joking a couple days ago about opposite day. I guess that's a thing. It's a real thing on the calendar sometime in October. And if you guys have ever seen The Family Switched, if you have kids, you've probably seen it. But it's a movie where they the stars aligned and there was lightning on the moon or whatever. Some silly thing happened where the family switched and the kids were the parents and the parents were the kids, and then the baby was the dog and the dog was the baby. So everyone switched roles, and my kids love that movie because it's really funny. Anyway, for opposite day, they were saying that they get to be parents and we get to be the kids. And I was like, no, on opposite day, what's actually going to happen is you're going to do everything I tell you to do, because that's actually the opposite of what you really do. He didn't like that idea. He didn't agree. No, I get to be the parent. If you guys have little kids and you've never watched The Family Switch, go check it out. It's a pretty funny movie. Mostly the part where the baby and the dog switch places. No, I take that back. There's lots of funny stuff. It's a great movie. Ace trades, I love that comment. And that's honestly something I'm trying to work on too, is shifting my perspective. If I'm I only made $200 today. Yesterday I made 800 and I'm looking for another entry. But there's always that perspective of a job, some people drive to work, sit at a job that they hate for 8 hours, drive home, so they're gone for 10 hours a day, sitting in traffic, doing something that they don't enjoy, away from their kids, all for, whatever your salary is. Maybe you make $500 a day. or something, which would be a pretty good salary. And I can sit here on the computer and like talk to my friends in the chat and click a couple buttons and make $500. That's not too bad. And even if you only made $100 and we're not even 2 hours into market open, so you worked very part-time, stared at a screen for a couple minutes, and now you get to go enjoy the rest of your day and come back tomorrow with a fresh mind. Not too shabby, in my opinion. Gonna keep trailing my stop loss up. So far, it broke that previous day high level, which was previous resistance. Let's see if it grinds back up to IB high. I don't know. Volume is not convincing, so this could pull back at some point, or it could just be a slow grind up. I don't know. Let's look at the current session volume profile. We're sitting at value area high right now. So that could be an area that's a little bit hard to get through. If it does, though, could return back to the high a day. What time frame am I on? This is currently the 5 minute. I usually try to zoom out to the 5 minute as much as possible. If I'm like really watching a reaction at a level, like when we were down here and I was watching for an entry, I moved to the 1 minute or the 2 minute just so I can really watch volume and candles and stuff. After that, I like to zoom out to the 5 minute. It keeps me more relaxed and less anxious. So really it's just an emotional thing for me. Because like right now, I'm sitting in this position. We had a little pullback, but on the 5 minute chart, it looks like nothing. Like, oh well, it's still green. The candles are still trending up, all good. And I'm totally fine. Like, I don't feel anxious. If I was on the 1 minute chart, look at that 1 minute candle pullback. I would have been like, oh shoot, we're reversing. It's gonna hit my stop loss. Like that would have been the voices going through my head. So just a little insight into why I use the 5 minute. It's also better in my opinion for like zooming out and seeing where you should put your stop loss. It forces you to be a little bit more patient and like wait for a higher time frame candle to close to get confirmation for that trade. There's lots of other arguments you can make for why 5 minute might be better. It's preference. I mean, people see success on the 1 minute too. I'm not saying the 5 minutes better. For me though, when I'm sitting in a trade like this, the 5 minute is better for my emotions. All right, this thing might end up just hitting my daily profit target. So it might not even go all the way up to IB high. Like with me in the trade, I mean. I think it will go up to IB high. But it's about to close out my position. So if I were a betting person, which I'm not, so take this with a grain of salt, but what I see for the rest of the day is a move up to this pre-market high, maybe a little bit of a liquidity sweep and a return back down to like a support level, maybe this 650 level, and then up to 800-ish as the high for today. Something like that. Who knows? We'll find out. All right, guys, that's it for me today. Hit my profit target, locked out my accounts. I'm gonna be done. Well, like I said earlier, I'm not trading live tomorrow, but I'm still gonna like share chart markups and trade ideas in Discord. So if you're not in Discord already, go join. Real quick in the chat, do you guys look at those trade ideas that I post? And do you find them helpful at all? Tell me your thoughts on it. I'll ask in Discord too. But I don't know. I don't get many reactions on it, so I don't know if I'm just talking to the wall or if you guys actually look at it. But yeah, I won't be live tomorrow because like I said, I'm going to be hanging out at my kids' school doing some volunteer stuff, and then I will be back next week. But come hang out in Discord. I'll be sharing at least in the chat on Friday. Have a fantastic weekend, you guys. Trade safe the rest of the day if you're still trading. And if you are doing signing up for some prop firm accounts, use code Krista. I'd appreciate the support. Thanks, you guys. Have a good one. Take care.